Hi everyone. I've started adding a new type of exercise to my exercise routine, and I thought that I would post a video about it because I think it might be useful for people to hear about. As per usual, nothing I'm saying should be construed as medical advice. This is for informational purposes only, and if you need health advice, please talk to your healthcare provider to get that advice. Just basically sharing what I'm doing and just take from it what you will. So I've been very health conscious for a long time. I'm a naturopathic doctor. It's what I do for a living. Try to take really good care of myself. And I felt up until maybe a month or so ago that I had a fairly well-rounded exercise regimen. I do, I lift weights a couple of times a week for my strength training. I do jujitsu at least a couple of times a week. I do kickboxing or MMA classes a couple of times a week. So kind of getting the sports in there, lots of different movements, twisting, and all these different movements that are a very unconventional movement, shall we say. I try to get some mobility work in there, doing like deep squats, doing hangs, doing different, I'm not sure what the category is to phrase this, but just doing different like range of motion exercises, like for my spine and various like twisting and twisting motions and bending and flexion motions. I do some less conventional weightlifting techniques as well. Like I do the regular, bicep curls and shoulder presses and all that fun stuff. But I, do different weighted movements for my spine. Haven't been doing quite as much dedicated cardio, quite a bit of cardio with the martial arts classes, but, not I go through stints of doing, jogging and doing sprints and whatnot. So I thought I was covering my bases pretty well. I dare say I think I am covering my bases quite well. I'm 41 years of age, so not a spring chicken, but also, not over the hill, but, definitely needing to be more mindful with, balanced my exercise routines, covering lots of different bases. Can't get away with, cutting corners as I maybe could 20 years ago. So I thought I was covering my bases pretty well. So I guess it's probably been maybe 2.5 months ago now. I was at a jujitsu class. I remember the day vividly. I was feeling really good. Felt, on my game. I feel pretty good the vast majority of the time, but I was feeling especially good. I was about to go on vacation a few days later, like, go on a family trip a few days later. I was feeling really good. I was grappling with my, training partner. We're kind of doing some stand-up grappling. We're kind of, rotating around, trying to find, get an advantage on each other to do a takedown, trying to do a takedown on one another. And then I just, took a heavy step, planting my foot, and just felt the shot of pain in my foot. And, the adrenaline was running. So I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. But, kept up the grappling, finished off my class. But as the class was progressing, I realized that there was really something seriously wrong with my foot. And in hindsight, it turns out that my foot I sprained my foot, sprained my ankle. I sprained my ankle before. Used to sprain it annually playing soccer or ultimate frisbee, and had some ozone injections into it many years ago. Never sprained it since. So I know what a sprain feels like. This is my other foot. I used to sprain my right ankle till the ozone injection. It's been beautiful ever since then. Sprained my left foot. Very atypical location for me. It was on the inside, not the outside of my ankle, and so did some injections, started doing some rehab, but was just, lamenting to my wife, like, what am I doing wrong here? And my wife, she's brilliant in many, many ways. She's also a naturopathic doctor. She also has a background in kinesiology. And she was like, well, you need to do work on your feet. It's like, really? Like, I wear minimalist shoes, barefoot minimalist shoes. I've done some foot rehab exercises before, try to get some toe splaying in there. And she's like, you need to do, more work for your feet. And so, being the wonderful, loving wife that she is, she spoke to me the way that, really, really resonates with me the most by sending me Instagram reels of people doing plyometrics. So she sent me Instagram reels about various things. And anyways, picture's worth 1,000 words. I guess if a picture's worth 1,000 words, maybe a video is worth about 1,000,000 words. So she sent me, a stream of plyometrics related videos on Instagram. And so I finally got the message that, oh, I need to start doing some plyometrics. So the thing that was missing from my exercise regimen was plyometrics. And I do not profess to be a plyometrics expert in any way, shape, or form, but I do realize that that's something that was missing in my exercise regimen. Now, I'm not insinuating, again, not giving any advice to anyone, but just for informational purposes, just philosophically here, I'm not thinking that everyone on the planet needs to be doing plyometrics. I mean, I feel like if I had stopped doing jujitsu the day before that fateful sprain, I probably wouldn't have really mattered if I started doing plyometrics, but because I plan to continue doing jujitsu for as long as humanly possible, because I'm thoroughly addicted to it, because it's amazing, and I also plan to play other sports with my kids as I do. They're still pretty little, so don't really have to bring my A game, but as they get older and bigger and more skilled, I'm going to have to keep working harder to keep up with them. Planning to start playing some soccer in the fall, thinking like, okay, I really want to make sure that I don't sprain my ankle again, because it was painful to have a sprained ankle, especially walking around an airport a few days later when we were on vacation. That really modified the trip. But the worst part of it was just not being able to do jujitsu and my other classes for couple of weeks until I could start getting back into it. So where I really don't want to get injured again, I think that moving forward, I'm going to continue doing plyometric exercises because I want to keep my feet and ankles from getting sprained, getting injured, and I think that's probably a pretty important thing to do with any type of more like high intensity kind of explosive movement type of sport. That involves the feet anyways, which would be the vast majority of them. So what I've been doing with respect to plyometrics is just a few different basic exercises. So I've been doing a lot of hops. So we have a step. My wife then, again, being the wonderful, loving, supportive wife that she is, went out and bought like this plyometrics box, essentially a plyo box of sorts. So I've been doing like jumping with both feet, so two-footed hops, just basically the steps maybe 4 inches high or something like that, give or take. And so I've just been basically with both feet, just kind of like hopping up, back and forth, like up and down off of that with 2 feet. Then I've been doing it with just 1 foot, just where I'm facing it directly, and then hopping on and off, on and off, on and off. Then doing that off to the side, so kind of doing like a side hop, on and off, on and off. Then I've been doing another one where I'm just basically on 1 foot, kind of like leaping as far as possible from one end of our basically living room main open concept area in our house area to the other side of the room, so getting about maybe 5 to 7 good length hops, going back and forth, doing about 4 laps one way, then or 4 going back and forth a couple of times on 1 foot then the other foot, and then doing another one where I'm basically jumping up in the air and then turning 180 degrees and landing the opposite way, and then doing that back and forth. So these are just some of the movements that I've seen with on these Instagram reels, and as now that it's in my feed, I'm seeing plyometric stuff all the time, and it's really interesting. Some of the folks that's kind of their shtick on Instagram, just talking about how when folks train plyometrics, not only is it an injury prevention thing, but it's also something that can really enhance sprinting speed, and that's something that I could definitely use as I'm getting up there and want to try to keep up with the younger guys. So and gals and whoever, I'll compete with anyone. I don't mind losing. It's fine, but it's nice to be able to do my personal best. So I'm excited to be running faster soon, having more injury prevention, and quite frankly, I wasn't avoiding plyometrics. It's just something that never really crossed my radar. So I thought I'd post this video so that if there's other folks that are in my demographic category, or who will eventually be in my demographic category, or who are beyond my demographic category, just might be useful to hear that like plyometrics is a thing. It's not taking a whole lot of time for me to add this into my training regimen. I'm doing it maybe 3 times a week. It's taking less than 5 minutes. Really gets the heart rate up as well. Turns out I'm really bad at it. I'm getting better, but at first, like, oh my gosh, like it looks so easy, and it's not that easy. It's just like anything, practice makes perfect. But yeah, something that I'm really happy that came across my radar, and as in many things in my life, I owe a lot to my wife, and this is just yet another thing to add to the list. So anyways, if you're listening to this video and plyo has made its way into your life, or you have any tips to share, if I mentioned my list of all the exercises I do and there's something special that you do that's not on my list, please post in the comment section below. I'd love to hear about it, and I will leave it there for now.